Okay, we're back, and I just wanted to show you real quick some examples of how to work with scanf, and then we're moving on to the second part of this lecture here. I'm over here in my student account on Chesapeake, and I have started working on a program called sample.c again. So far I just have that basic stuff that every program has to have. And let's just say I wanted to, I'm going to prompt the user to enter a temperature in Fahrenheit, and we'll convert it to Celsius. Okay, that would be a simple little program that we might want. So like I'm going to have a floating point variable. And just to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to call it TF for temperature in Fahrenheit and TC for temperature in Celsius. And I'm just going to use the printf function to say, printf, please enter temperature in Fahrenheit. Okay, we're getting to be pretty good at working with those printf statements. And then we're going to use this new scanf statement. We're going to be scanning in a floating point number, so our format specifier has to be %f. And then we're scanning into that from the keyboard ampersand TF. It's all case sensitive. I had some mistakes there where I made the big T first. That doesn't work. The variable names are case sensitive. They do have to have that ampersand in front of it with scanf. Again, on a different day we'll explain exactly why that has to be. And then let's just say we'll do some calculations like TC equals TF minus 32.0 times 5/9. And then we can just print f, %f, I'm going to print out like this temperature Fahrenheit is this temperature Celsius. So %f Fahrenheit is %f Celsius /n. TF, TC. Alright, so the first, the TF will go into this format specifier and the TC will go into that one. Let's see if this works. GCC sample.c minus LM. Oh, got an error there. TF is undeclared. Oh, sure enough, look at that. I used TF as a lowercase. It should have been uppercase. It's not T little f, it's T big F. After I just told you that they have to be case sensitive. Alright, I'm back out. I'm going to compile again. This time I didn't get any errors. And please enter a temperature in Fahrenheit. How about 32? 32F is 0C. Now it's terribly formatted on here. I should have, used a fancier specifier that included how many digits I want and so on. Let's run the program again just to prove to ourselves it works. How about 50 Fahrenheit is 10 degrees Celsius, so let's check that. 50 Fahrenheit is 10 degrees Celsius. So see how it works? Okay, so I mean, this business of scanf is not so tricky. Just the main thing is remembering you tell it the format specifier. You don't in general want to tell it something like %4.1f, because then it'll only accept the answer if it's 4 digits wide with 1 to the right of the decimal place. You just want to be generic about it. %f, it's a floating point number. If you're asking the user to enter an integer like how many days was it sunny, that's an integer, then you would use %d for your format or whatever. And then remembering that there has to be this ampersand. That's certainly very common. Hey, let's actually demonstrate what happens if that goes wrong. Let's say you forgot the ampersand. That is an educational error. Let's see what happens here. I took out the ampersand. I'm going to compile this. Oh, first off, it issues a warning. Warnings are different from errors. Errors mean I did not, GCC did not make a new a.out file. Warning means I'm going to trust you on this, but you don't seem to know what you're doing. In this case, it's saying format %f expects an argument of type float, but is getting a type double. Though that's a tricky. The message doesn't really help me. But notice if I try to run this thing, enter a temperature in Fahrenheit, 32 I typed in, and well, look what it did. I entered a temperature of 32 Fahrenheit, and I got 0 Fahrenheit is -9, and the calculation is right, but this isn't what the number I entered. Let me try that again. Let's say I entered 50 Fahrenheit. 50 Fahrenheit is my answer, my input here, but notice I'm getting again 0. Something's not right here. Testing our program proved that this didn't work, but if I put that ampersand back, it will be just fine. Okay, the second half of today's lecture is going to be about commenting your code so that programs look better and are easier for me to grade and so on. So let me just break this here, and then I will give you the second half of the lecture.